Farranac Coast, day 240, 12:30 hours. A small patrol of colonials managed to break through the Winged Walk, the eastern bridge here in the region, crossing the River Mersey.
Watch out.
So how did you manage to actually break into the north side of the river here?
We drive with a half track through it and kill 5 or 6 people.
They were able to pierce initial defenses with the help of a half-track, but now the half-track has fallen back, and the colonial units are doing their best to hold the line.
Hey dude, if you... Oh fuck!
They've managed to clear out a few defenses and continue to do so.
You say got that pillbox right there?
Yes.
But without quick support, this region may fall back into stalemate through the River Mersey and a critical flank at Jade Cove, which just won't bend. For now, most of the fight is in the Deadlands. For now, this small patrol is on their own. For the PressCorps, I'm Murray Sharp. The Great March, day 241, 2200 hours. Reports of Warden Commando units penetrating deep into colonial lines, running amok in the Great March, have proven disastrous for logistics. Colonial forces are already struggling to maintain the front line and cling onto the central regions, what 2 regions they already have left. Staff Sergeant Pizza Fungus is on the case. When I met up with him, it seems he had already completed his mission.
We have killed them. Yes. We have killed them.
And for these Warden Commandos, what specifically was their targets down here in the Great March?
The town, not the town halls, but the base camps. Yeah, Scheisse, Cytheria, and the Swan. They had a utility truck.
A light utility vehicle, I see. That's how they were able to get around so quickly. And, were they using explosives to destroy these strategic points?
No, heavy MG. They destroyed the buildings with heavy MG.
Well, that sounds like a lot of bullets. Are there any more left since you've hunted them down?
No, I think we killed all of them.
What if more commandos decide to come back?
I will continue building stuff here. And I will have an eye on that.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Staff Sergeant Pizza Fungus.
Thank you.
From Iristown, the Great March, I'm PressCorps Colonial Correspondent Murray Sharp.
Umbral Wildwood, day 247, 1842 hours. Elements of the Colonial Umbral Army Group approached the last warden-held town in the region, the Foundry. The warden forces consisting of 1 warden-made Flood Mark I, commanded by Brigadier Aldalur, and a captured Colonial Lance 36, commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Lord Death, dig into the eastern edge of the town.
Move us there and face east so we can be protected by the silo. That way if they push we can still get a shot on them. That's right, stop.
Throughout the night, small probing attacks are made by the Colonials, but the first casualty occurs around 1200 hours on day 228. The Flood Mark I gets knocked out by an enemy battle tank.
Straight ahead, enemy MBT, engage. Hold position? No, stop. It's too late. Aldalur is dead, fall back.
The Wardens soon reinforced with a Devet Mark III, commanded by Warrant Officer 2nd Class Superfly. The Colonials are reinforced as well by 2 H5 hatchets by sunset. Further night incursions would result in the loss of 1 Colonial hatchet.
Light tank coming around camp.
Right tank coming, 1 o'clock. Yo, he's in range, come on. There we go, finish him up.
Oh, you've done it now. Back up.
Reverse.
Hang on, don't do it.
That's up.
Alright, he's dead.
But at dawn, they mount a full assault with the addition of a storm tank. After bloody street-by-street fighting, it is decided that the Warden-commanded Lance would remain behind, while the Devet protected the trucks, evacuating the town's equipment supply.
Hey, Fox, do we want to go back and try to secure the supply line?
You should be able to if you have AP loaded. Just watch your backs and get a guy with binos to command for you so you can see the enemy tank that's camping larger before it sees you. You can go. We will manage here.
Shortly after the town hall is destroyed, the Lance is knocked out as well.
Let's go.
Let's go away. Stop. Go. We're done for. You're stressed.
He's not so cool now, is he? You fucking cunt. You should have fucking retreated. Cheers. Charge the tanks, boys. Get the trucks out.
Loading, come on, fire.
For the PressCorps, I'm Hanz Scheisse, Warden Correspondent, bringing you the latest news from the front.
In between the salt farms and Sun's Hollow, the Deadlands, approximately 1830 hours. Colonial forces, after slogging to defend the town of Sun's Hollow, were finally pushed out due to overwhelming Warden infantry, armor, and fire support. The collies fell back to reorganize in and around the salt farms. They've managed to put up defenses around the town and have tried to keep the fight outside of the town as far as possible. But the battle west of the town is proving bloody and vicious.
It's looking pretty brutal. There's a lot of fighting going on. I'm sure we can make it through, but I don't know how we're gonna fare against the armored vehicles. Oh shit!
As Warden activity grows on the east side of the region, the collies continue to fight for breathing space. For the PressCorps, I'm Mari Sharp.
I'm joined here in the studio with SIR Clan Press Secretary, Morep 8. Can you describe the situation out there in Sun's Hollow?
Right now, we're kind of just hanging out at Sun's Hollow. Like probably 4 or 5 of us actively playing. We just have been doing our best to fortify the front and help keep the randoms kind of together. There's a bunch of like lance corporals and there's a bunch of sergeants running around, so it's nice to see a resurgence in player pop. And I mean, what we do is we help random players, so any chance we get to go teach some new guy how to play is kind of how we operate.
And can you describe the Warden situation north of Sun's Hollow, how they're attacking?
I would just say they have a highly concentrated force, primarily operating with their armor support and indirect fire, slowly advancing the line probably at a 30-meter pace towards Sun's Hollow.
And do you think the fight will be over anytime soon in and around the town?
Probably in about 2 hours. I think 2.5 hours we'll be fighting for salt.
Now, Salt Farms is currently under colonial control, correct?
Correct, but because there's also partisans that are constantly interrupting it. We've been protecting the highway as we go.
The highway between Salt Farms and Suns.
Correct.
And do you think the fight will switch to Suns anytime soon?
I think the fight is primarily coming from Lib to Suns, but there's a heavy partisan group hitting I think it's the Salt Trail. So we're having contact from there, which is making it difficult to get logistics where it needs to go. We have, like I said, a lot of new players, so a lot of them aren't really experienced with logistics or are very interested in doing it. So at the current point in time when it comes to this game, I don't think it's right to get these new players who will be seeing an entirely different world in the next war, which is pretty exciting, right? So they're going to be seeing
a fight on 2 fronts. Morep 8 of the SIR outfit. What's the name? What's the full name of that outfit again?
Sapper Interdiction Route. It's 3 different things that we do. So we do a lot of PvE when it comes to the frontline stuff, interdiction when it comes to intercepting partisan groups and doing some ourselves, and rat line is basically building defenses around flanks of enemy forces and trying to sneak in behind them with supplies. So it's things like that. That's what we primarily focus.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Matches Keening, Farranac Coast, day 282, 1730 hours. As the Wardens push out from Jade Cove, colonial defenders scramble to maintain the line. In comes a storm tank from the east.
Watch your side, rotate your front.
Get away.
Successfully pushing them back, the tank crew falls back to repair. It's there that they recognize me.
Hi, Mari. How you doing?
Second Lieutenant the Supplanter, as well as 22 ACR member Clone Trooper, man the storm tank. Knowing my press credentials, they decided to engage in a story.
I have driven this tank from Westgate to Farranac Coast to Heartlands.
Epic
Umbral
moment.
to Heartlands to Westgate, back up to here, chasing 2 enemy storm tanks. We killed them both, and it was glorious.
The chase begins at the foundry, when Supplanter was investigating the town. When did you first encounter the storm tanks?
At Foundry, we were chasing them across Heartlands.
2 enemy storm tanks, 2 Warden storm tanks, is that correct?
Correct. They were causing havoc down in Heartlands.
Clone Trooper arrived separately.
When Surplanter was coming up on Foundry, I was over here with one of my clan members driving around with a half track. Now, we didn't know it was storm tanks. We thought it was just a bunch of Jeeps and armored cars. That's what we got out of it. So we're sitting here on our half track driving around. We get to, we're at where we hear explosions at, Golden Route. We think it's, my clan member thinks it's tanks. But I'm like, that's probably EKs. So we chase them. They go come around on Thunderfoot.
All the way around to go down to the south to Border Watch. We went round to Border Watch, then we went round to Sentry, got some more shells and fuel. Well, we had to stop at a fuel node on the way to gather fuel because we actually ran out. We went out to Hermits, met 22 ACR. They had a storm tank themselves. We then went back up to Foundry. By that point, they'd moved back into the Heartlands.
And did you meet them in the town itself or in and around the town?
We met them on the western side of the town. We were transporting over to Foundry to defend the town, and we met them from behind. We were unable to cause much damage as we were concerned about our own storm tank being outnumbered 2-1.
Clone Trooper continues the story, telling about how daring maneuvers were able to move in between the 2 Warden storm tanks.
Drive between these 2 storm tanks, and these guys are just like, what? We cut through the field between Golden Route and Thunderfoot, and as soon as we go through that field, me and my clan member drive right between two Warden storm tanks. Now these guys I lose my shit. I'm just like, oh my god, 2 Warden storm tanks right here, right now.
Finally, after giving chase through several regions, the storm tank crew picks one off.
There was one storm tank then. They traded. It was 1v1. We chased them back up here. Then we chased them east. We came up behind them and destroyed them.
Of course, I was told all of this after the fact, so no doubt some level of embellishment. But reports of Warden storm tanks racing across other regions corroborate the story. Until light tanks and inevitably battle tanks join the fray, the storm tank will remain dominant for now. For the PressCorps, I'm Mari Shot.
The Heartlands, day 384, 2200 hours. A force of presumably 7 Warden tanks entered the region through Deadlands and destroyed the Foundation Town Hall with ease. By 2345, they have rolled south to Baronstown and neutralized it as well. By the time a Lance battle tank arrived at the scene, the Seawish tank column had already dispersed. By day 385 0450 hours, the number of active colonial personnel in the region had jumped from 7 to 43, but the Wardens were long gone, presumably going through the 13th side road, after it was reported destroyed at 0300. For the PressCorps, I'm reporter Potato.